Hello, patrons. Welcome to the continuation of Queenie's Tarot course. And we are working on the Major Arcana. The last video I did the Fool, which is this leap of faith and this need to trust. And the Fool is always the beginning, but at the end, the end as well. So the next card that we go to is the Magician. And this is what happens after you start something, where you come and you're gathering all your tools so that you can channel the energy to move forward. The magician is like, he plants the seed. The fool takes the risk, and the magician kind of focuses in. Oh, you know what? The fool is the seed. The magician germinates the seed. How about that? Anyway, so I have got a book that will give me the traditional meaning of the magician card, and I've got a couple of copies of types of magician cards that you might find in tarot decks, in different tarot decks. My first tarot deck that I really resonated with was the Eileen Connolly deck, and I am not sure. I'm pretty sure I have it somewhere here, but I don't have it for this video. At some point I'll get it out. I'll get it out for you, because it was is my favorite deck, to kind of like my go-to tarot deck. Very traditional images, and it's not that I don't like gory images on tarot cards, but some of the decks I'm just like, okay. I think that, just like in life with people, there are some people that need things to be a bit more dramatic. And there are some people that need things to be a bit more nebulous and dreamy. And then there are some people that need things to be more pragmatic and more focused, maybe more earthy, more pentacles like, but we'll talk about that in a future segment. So everybody, not everybody is going to like the same tarot deck. And there are so many oracle decks and divination tools out there that it would be impossible to cover them all. So I'm going to show you a few types of magician cards that I've come up with in my collection. And I will show you the different themes that are on there. Because the basic theme of the magician card, which I will go with, this is your it's opalescent, but this is the traditional look of the Rider-Waite deck, the magician. So this is what the traditional look of the magician card looks like, from what I know, from as far back as I can remember. So there is a man, he's got an infinity symbol up above his head. He is holding a wand up above his head, and he's pointing at the ground. Basically, he is channeling energy from spirit into form. He has, if you look on the table, he has all the suits on the table. He has a sword, he has wands, he has cups, he has pentacles. The idea of that is that if you get the magician card, that means that all the tools are available to you right now. That you have gathered all the tools. It is time to utilize the energy that's available. That's what the magician does. And that can be like germinating a seed that you planted with the Fool. I consider the Major Arcana kind of a manifestation spiral. Instead of a circle of manifestation, it's a spiral of manifestation. At least that's what I call it. That's how I like to that's what I like to call it. I can't say how I like to term it. Yeah. Articulation. uh, not my strong suit at this moment. Okay, so we've got the Magician card. This is your traditional tarot deck, although it's a little fancy because it's opalescent, and I like it. I like the back on there too. Anyway, this is your traditional tarot deck. This is how the Magician looks. Okay? Then we've got special fancy decks, like the Starman deck. The Magician is called the Starman. And this deck was inspired by David Bowie and when he was the Starman. This is the Magician in this deck. You notice how different it is, yet the same, because you can see he is channeling energy from spirit into the earth, from the top of his head down to his feet. And see all the lightning bolts around him? And that's like him, that spirit penetrating the earth. It's the beginning of manifestation, as it were. And so let me look and see, are all the suits? What's interesting is that I am not seeing on this card all the suits. I'm seeing different images around, and it's possible that those could represent some of the suits. But in this particular deck, that's not what I'm seeing. Although that is the traditional meaning of the Magician. And it looks like, and basically this could be the meaning of this card as well. They just don't symbolize it by the suits. This card symbolizes this being has all the energy, all the tools available for manifestation, all the tools available to germinate that seed, to be the beginning, to start. It's number one. It's to start. So that is the Starman deck, and there's the back of that one. Then we have another deck where I kind of, for a little while, well, no, still, I'm a cat lady, by the way, and so I found a deck called the Blooming Cat Tarot. This is the Magician of this deck. And honestly, this Magician of this deck does have all the suits there. It's just that in this deck, swords aren't swords. They're lavender. So here is the cat has the infinity symbol over the top of their head, which denotes this connection to spirit and to connection to all that is. And then you've got the pentacle down on the ground, and that is kind of where that line of energy can go. So this is totally, it's different. Now, if I were to look at this card and I had no idea what the Magician card meant, I am wondering, personally, what represents water. So now I'm going to have to look inside this deck. Oh, I put it away. I was going to have to look inside this deck and see how the suits are represented on this. But anyway, this is the Magician card in the Blooming Cat Tarot. Very pretty. And meow. All right, so I pulled out a deck that I haven't used yet, that I was gifted last year or the year before, and I haven't used it yet. I realize that the cards are still in order. I haven't even shuffled it yet. What is my problem? But for this deck, I'm going to use the guidebook that goes with this deck to talk to you about the traditional meanings of the Magician card. But let's look at this guy. It's the Labyrinth Tarot deck and guidebook. So of course, Jareth is going to be the Magician. Of course he is. I mean, really. If you've ever seen Labyrinth, you'll understand why. And if you are a patron of mine, you've probably seen Labyrinth. So I'm looking at this card, and again, we find a Magician card that does not have all the suits represented on it, unless they're symbolically, like the snake means something and these little gnome guys mean something. But I'm pretty sure that it is, the magician is just represented by Jareth, and he represents being in charge of being able to focus energy, being able to fund up and focus energy, being a master of that, and being a master of creation, a master of magic, the magician. So let's read what the traditional book meaning of that is. Let's see. Like the magician, like the Goblin King himself, the magician is a mysterious conjurer, confident in his skill and power. His fierce ambition pushes him to challenge the known limits of what is and isn't possible. Okay? Upright. If you get the card upright, and it's upright for what we're looking at, you're feeling invigorated, creative, and excited by all the opportunities and possibilities surrounding you. Channel Jareth's confidence and charisma as you take advantage of the inspired energy. If you put the power of your passion and raw talent behind you and your goals, you'll be unstoppable. So this kind of goes along with what I was talking about, that this card is telling you, the magician tells you that you have all the tools available to accomplish what you want to accomplish, and the time to take steps towards it and to put your energy towards it and your focus towards it is now. That's why the magician is number one, number one, number one. Magician is number one. Okay, let's see if I have another deck. Let's see if the magician is in this one. Let's find out. No, it's not doing this for me. Hold on. All right. Maybe they don't have Major Arcana. Oh, yes, they do. Most decks put the Major Arcana at the front of it, but this tarot deck does not, however. I haven't used this deck very much either. Here's what happens. I get decks or I inherit decks. And honestly, it's totally fine if somebody gives you a tarot deck. Just use selenite or just do something that you feel would symbolically, energetically clean the deck, and it's yours. I don't have a problem with people that want to pick up my tarot cards and look at them, unless we're in the middle of something. And as long as they come back to me in the same way, looking the same as they did when I handed them to them, it's really no problem, because I trust my ability to cleanse my tools, and I trust my ability to cleanse myself. And those are things that we're going to learn eventually too in other videos. I will show you how. So, oh, this is great. I just didn't find this card. So magician card in this deck looks like that. And you'll notice that all the suits are represented, and there's the infinity symbol, and there's this beautiful, beautiful leopard. Okay? So in this deck, the magician is self-empowerment and action, which is what we're talking about, which is what we were talking about. You have all the tools available. It is time to act. It is time now to start. It's time to start now. The magician is a card of boundless, expansive energy, whereas many of the major arcana deals with stillness or the aspects of the mind. This card is about action. Action, action. It's time to see yourself as the wildcat. Embrace his speed, grace, and abilities. And don't be afraid to begin. You have the power of all four elements within your reach. Now is the time to use them. So you see, we've got pentacles, we've got swords, we've got wands, and we've got cups. Now, this is a quick rundown of what those suits are, because you didn't get the rundown before because we haven't got to the suits yet. Pentacles represents earth, manifestation, materialism, creating, stability, groundness, how we create stability and groundness for ourselves. Wands is about creativity, passion, lust, fire. It's a fire element. Cups, water, emotions, dreams, visions, intuition, the way we flow into the way that life ebbs and flows. Swords, clarity, mental clarity, communication, and choice, and good boundary setting. So, if you've got all of those going for you, then it is time to begin. That, my friends, has been the Magician card. Next time we meet, my patrons, we will look at the High Priestess. Now, here's what happens. The Magician germinates, the High Priestess contains. The High Priestess contains and studies. So, we will get to her next week, and maybe I'll even have a few more decks for you to look at, different examples of what the High Priestess looks like in various tarot decks. So you can know that I don't think there's any right or wrong way to do it. Other than some tarot decks I don't know. They don't resonate with me. Let's just put it that way. And they don't seem, I think that sometimes people create tarot decks and they're kind of reaching with their symbolism. But that might just be me. These tarot decks that I don't necessarily like might be tarot decks that somebody else just loves, that speaks to them and they speak to it, and you cannot fault people for that. These are your tools. You get to pick which tools are yours. And if you're the magician, all your tools are there. So you have to like your tools so that you can do your thing. Anyway, I love you guys. Thank you so much for being patrons. And I look forward to making more videos for you. I'm sorry it takes me a while, but I have to put together the course. Like I said, next video will be the High Priestess, and maybe in between that time, I will do a video and I will demonstrate energetic cleansing and grounding. I think I've done a grounding video on here before, but let's do some energetic cleansing, and I'll tell you the stone that I use for cleansing, which is selenite, how to use it, how to use the image of flame or the sun, or how to utilize the energy that's available, just like the magician would. So I love you. I'll talk to you soon.